Since 1934, Iowa's farmers have turned to the Iowa Farm Bureau spokesman as their trusted news source. Now, the spokesman speaks. Listen in and hear from leading experts on topics important to farmers and agriculture. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to our October 17th edition of the Spokesman Speaks podcast. I'm Andrew Wheeler, and in today's episode, we're going to do a deep dive conversation on Iowa State University's College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, also known as CALS, with Lydia Johnson, who's the president of the CALS Student Council, Mike Gall, who's the director of CALS Career Services, and Jenna Smith, who's a CALS student and Iowa Farm Bureau's digital marketing intern for this school year. We also have an exciting announcement for those of you who'd like to save some money at your local gym. So let's start with that. Earlier this month, Iowa Farm Bureau launched a new member benefit. For $25 per month, with no long-term contracts, Farm Bureau members can now use the Active and Fit Direct program to join one of nearly 200 participating Iowa gyms covering 57 Iowa counties. Members can also receive one-on-one wellness coaching over the phone, access to a library of more than 8,700 on-demand workout videos, and more. For more on that, we turn things over to spokesman editor Tom Block and Troy Seacrest, who's the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at American Specialty Health.
Iowa Farm Bureau is pleased to announce a partnership that offers our members savings on a gym membership. Our newest partner of choice, the Active and Fit Direct program, is designed to provide a flexible fitness lifestyle. Joining us today to share more information on this exciting program is Troy Seacrest, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at American Specialty Health. Welcome, Troy.
Hi, Tom. It's great to be with you today.
Troy, why should Iowa Farm Bureau members be interested in the Active and Fit Direct program?
Well, Tom, your members are often working long hours, especially now during harvest season. I'm told as much as 10 to 14 hours a day. And with much of that time being spent on equipment, that's tricky. We know that inactivity and prolonged sitting can lead to serious health conditions like heart disease, diabetes, back and neck pain, and even some types of cancer. The good news is studies show that physical activity and fitness can counteract the effects of too much sitting. In fact, engaging in fitness and physical activity is the most important thing we can do to reduce our health risks. And that's where our Active and Fit Direct program can help your members get fit. For only $25 a month, your members may choose from any of the nearly 200 participating Active and Fit Direct gyms and fitness centers in 57 Iowa counties. That includes 17 YMCAs in 14 Iowa counties, 58 Anytime Fitness Center locations in 36 counties, Snap Fitness locations, Planet Fitness, and many other local gyms. And if they decide they want to change gyms at any time to try something new, they can switch. There are no long-term contracts. Now, for those members who may not live near a gym and are wondering how they can participate, we offer over 8,700 on-demand home fitness videos at no additional cost. These videos are cutting edge with all the newest training classes, from high-intensity interval training HIIT classes to cardio workouts, strength training, martial arts, Pilates, and much more. And all of this, again, is part of the membership at no additional cost.
Well, there's certainly a lot of value there. I understand the program also offers one-to-one coaching to help members get started. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, Tom, good point. It does. We know some folks have trouble starting an exercise program. It can be tough to change habits or try new things. So the Active and Fit Direct program offers one-on-one well-being coaching to help your members set up a fitness program, perhaps set their fitness goals, or even help with other lifestyle issues like nutrition, stress, and sleep. Let's face it, we can all use a hand or a kickstart sometimes. And these telephone-based coaching sessions come as part of the membership. Again, no extra cost.
How does a member enroll and what is the cost?
We've made enrolling simple. Members can visit your website, iowafarmbureau.com, and click on the Active and Fit Direct link under Member Benefits. That takes them to our Active and Fit Direct website where they can enroll. Now, if they enroll before the end of the year, we'll waive the standard $25 enrollment fee. So they pay just $25 for the current month and $25 for the next month, plus any taxes. And again, participation after that is month to month, so they're not locked in.
Now, what if a member's local gym or fitness center is not in the Active and Fit Direct network?
If your members can't find their local gym or their favorite one, it's not listed on our site, we make it easy for them to nominate that gym. There's a link on our site where they just provide the name, address, and phone number. We'll reach out to that gym for possibly adding them to our network.
Troy, is there anything else you'd like members to know about the Active and Fit Direct program?
Sure. Your members should know that the Active and Fit Direct program is not available to the general public. It's only available through select partners like Iowa Farm Bureau. So it's important that they visit first your website, look for the link to Active and Fit Direct, and go from there to learn more and join. Well, we're thrilled to offer this fantastic fitness deal to Iowa Farm Bureau members. And for just $25 a month, we've got your members covered, whether they want to work out in the gym or at home. Again, there are no annual fees, no long-term contracts, and you can switch gyms at any time. And don't forget, join before the end of the year and we'll waive the $25 enrollment fee.
Thanks, Troy. I think that's a really flexible benefit that's going to appeal to our members across the state. To learn more about that Active and Fit Direct program and how to get signed up, we've given you a link in the notes for this podcast episode. You can also head out to iowafarmbureau.com/member benefits. Next up, we have a trio from the Iowa State University College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. We know that many of you who listen to this podcast are ISU CALS alumni, or you know someone else, perhaps a son or daughter, who's a current or prospective ISU CALS student. So here's your chance to get a current insider look at what's going on at the College of Ag with CALS Student Council President Lydia Johnson, Director of CALS Career Services Mike Gall, and CALS Senior Jenna Smith, who's Iowa Farm Bureau's digital marketing intern. Jenna caught up with Lydia and Mike last month, just a couple weeks into the new school year.
Mike, I'm going to go ahead and get started with you. Tell us a little bit about the College of Ag and Life Sciences at Iowa State.
So the fall semester is off and rolling here, and I think the college is pretty pleased overall with their enrollment trends for the fall. We just received what we call our 10-day numbers. We got these probably about a week and a half ago. I'll just share some of the statistics with you here today. I think the college is at, for fall of 2022, 4,310 students, which is about 3,769 of that are undergraduates and 541 are graduate students there. And I guess the good news is CALS increased that number of new undergraduates by 3.1% this year, which was the second consecutive year of growth that they've had. And I think one of our main points of pride within the college is that our student retention rate, especially for first-year students, our freshmen, meaning how many are actually coming back from last year, was 88.1%, which is by far the highest of any at Iowa State University and the colleges here at Iowa State University. And I think that speaks volumes to the quality of advising that our students within CALS get from the great advisors that we do have here. We are graduating some very large classes. Last year, a graduating class from December 2021 till May of 2022, we graduated just less than 1,200 degrees at the undergraduate level, which is, I think, probably our third or fourth largest class that we ever had out of here. The largest undergraduate majors include animal science, animal ecology, ag business, ag studies, biology, which we share with the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, industrial technology, and agronomy, and all those majors combined make up about 69% of the CALS enrollment. And some of the other bright spots is that We have more women than we have men in the CALS program right now. 57% of our undergraduates are women, and university-wide, that's about 44%. And then another interesting statistic as well is about 30% of our undergraduate students are from states that are outside of Iowa. University-wide non-residents make up about 35% of that student population. So all in all, I think the college is pretty clear. We could always use more. Obviously, couldn't everybody, but I think all in all, the news is pretty good on the enrollment front.
Yeah, that's great to hear, especially coming from the student perspective of myself. Hearing those upward trends and everything is really cool to hear. So Lydia and we are both college students here in the ag industry, and you're the student president of the College Ag and Life Sciences Student Council. Why did you choose Iowa State and the College of Ag?
Yeah, good question. Very open-ended. I guess kind of coming to Iowa State, it seemed like kind of the perfect combination of everything. A little bit of familiarity. I grew up in Central Iowa, 4-H FFA, so a little bit of familiarity with the people and the place, but really it was a place of opportunity for me. I knew growing up in Iowa agriculture, we kind of have a lot of things right at our fingertips, which we might take for granted a little too often being students in high school, not realizing that everything is right here. We're really, really lucky. And so coming to Iowa State, kind of transitioning all those things I'd learned in 4-H FFA on my family's farm and really figuring out how I was going to pivot those and build a career out of it, kind of turn those from the enjoyable things in high school to a professional aspect to make a career out of. So coming to Iowa State, I think I really quickly found my place through a lot of student organizations, leadership positions. The opportunities are really endless. When they say choose your adventure, they are right. There are way more opportunities than you could ever do all of them, which is a great opportunity as an incoming student because there's always something new to try. But I think, and Jenna, you can echo this, we both came during COVID. August of 2020 is when we got to campus, but CALS really did an exceptional job of giving us those opportunities still, and a lot of the people our year are still really involved on campus, which I think you could see different trends in other colleges. So we're really lucky, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be going to school right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. When you were back in high school trying to decide what college you wanted to go to, why did you decide Iowa State? Like, what makes Iowa State different from other ag colleges in the Midwest or really anywhere in the country?
I think kind of the diversified aspect of, we have everything from crop science and soil science, the agronomy side, to we have the life sciences that fits into our college, our food science, culinary science. Like Mike said, biology fits into CALS as well. I'm an ag communications major, and that really encompasses everything. And I kind of joke that what I came to school to do is learn how to write and learn how to talk. I need to learn as much about diversified agriculture as I can and learn how to apply that so that I can communicate it with whatever audience is next, whether that be consumer-facing or industry-facing or producer-facing. And so I think kind of knowing I wanted to do communications when I came and then realizing the great ag knowledge I'd get being here and having a good program, it kind of all came together really easily for me.
Yeah, a lot of those resources that we need are at the tip of our fingers and super accessible, which is really nice for us and all the other students here. Mike, we've established that there's lots of fields of study in the College of Ag here at Iowa State. What fields tend to be most popular with students, in your opinion?
So yeah, I think one of the nice things about the College of Ag is really the breadth and depth of the majors that we've got here. Most people don't realize that we're home to about 25 really pretty diverse majors out there, and so we're really kind of all over the board in terms of that. And rest assured, I'm a firm believer. I don't care which of those majors you're going into. If you embrace the opportunities that are presented to you as a student here, whether it's the academics, the internships, the leadership that we see with Lydia there, the study abroads that we've got, you can be successful in any of those majors out there. But in terms of popularity, our largest major, it's really no surprise, is animal science. And I was talking with Jody Sturley earlier this year, and she said I think their undergraduate enrollment is about up to 1,100 students, okay? And that's up a little bit. And it's not surprising given the demand for vets right now, which we'll probably talk a little bit about here in a few minutes. So a lot of those will come in obviously as pre-vet students there. But some other popular areas right now, ag biz is seeing a little bit of resurgence, agricultural business. I know they graduated a pretty small class last spring. I was surprised by that, but I guess their incoming class this fall for freshmen is 100 plus, which is great because that's a really, really good job market right now. Agronomy is on the move upwards a little bit, which is good. Their numbers had dipped, and there's so many fantastic opportunities out there in the agronomy field right now. One that I always am a champion for, but I wish would garner some popularity among students will be our food science major. It's a great program here. It's a smaller major, but the employment opportunities, we look at food, right? It's recession proof. We all have to eat, and the opportunities in the food sector right now for students at all different levels is just fantastic. So again, it goes back to what I said before. It doesn't matter what you major in, but if you embrace those opportunities that are presented to you, it's such an easy game to play. You can be successful, and you will be successful in any of the careers that you do, or any of the majors that you do enroll in here at Iowa State.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of alluded to it earlier, but what are some of the trends that you think make animal science a popular study?
One of the trends is obviously, the demand for vets right now is just crazy good. So you guys hopefully use our SciHire system. And so as a manager on SciHire, when I see these jobs come through, I can see every job that always comes through. And I can't tell you in the last 5 years how many vet related, whether they're clinics or corporate vet entities are posting jobs for vet students out there. So part of it's really driven by, if you think about it, what happened over the pandemic, everybody adopted pets in the U.S. And so the demand for small animals and even large animal vets has just exploded. And it's certainly a good thing. The salaries are definitely up, but I know it's a very, very competitive pathway, to be successful in that career path. I talked with my counterpart over in the vet college earlier this year. She said they had 1,965 applicants for this year's class of vet medicine, and what did I think 133 students get in there. She even said they had in the spring, they had one company come in, I don't know if it was a clinic or what, but they came in the spring to interview students for veterinary positions, offering to pay their last year of vet school, and had 0 students sign up on that interview schedule. And it was probably late in the spring and everybody was off the market. But right now, there's just a really big demand for vets out there, and which is good to see. I mean, it's a big investment, time and money-wise, but salaries are up and openings are up. And so that's, I think, that a little splash of that pandemic pet adoption thing has really fueled the demand for that career interest there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I never thought about the whole COVID trend and people getting pets, so I've never thought about that. That's very interesting. Lydia, going along with what Mike had to say about studying and the trends going on here at Iowa State, when you're talking to our peers here at Iowa State, what are some of the things that you hear they're studying, and what are some of the trends that go along with that?
Yeah, one area that I think I've kind of heard at least an increase in the last, I would say, year is the Ag and Rural Policy Studies major. They recently rebranded this past year, but a lot of students, I think, are seeing all the ways policy can apply to whatever major they're in. Mike was kind of talking about food science, but, you could incorporate food science and ag business, but really any major you could look at from a policy aspect. And so I think I've seen a lot of people interested in doing that as a double major. And then another area I think that is growing in importance for sure is the environmental studies, conservation type majors. I'm in an agronomy class right now, soil conservation and land use, and our professor constantly reminds us, we know how to grow crops. We know what to do, but we don't know what to do as we deplenish our resources and as the population grows and as we have less land to do it on. And so, we need people that are willing to do those things, that are willing to talk about those things, those people that are going to be communicating with farmers and landowners and things like that. And even just in Iowa, talking about carbon sequestration, that's going to be a huge topic for farmers and anyone in agriculture as we move into that in the future. So I think a lot of those sustainability focused majors and programs will be of growing importance in the future.
Yeah, if I could just add something to that too. I mean, Lydia's spot on. You look at some of the trends that came out of the pandemic. I think people saw the effects of the pandemic on the environment. You probably have all seen those pictures of like the before and after shots of LA with the smog and no smog as a result of, less traffic out there. But the climate change and the global warming, it's really resonating with the younger generation like you guys out there. And so there's just more and more of these potential careers that are going to pop up. The interest level is huge out there. And you can kind of see that reflected a little bit in some of our enrollment trends out there. You look at our natural resource ecology and management, that's our second biggest major. Environmental science is pretty good size, even in the agronomy. But the whole environment piece right now is one that really resonates with this generation of students.
So we have discussed that agriculture is always changing, and so are the trends to go along with that. And so are the opportunities available to students here in the Ag College at Iowa State. Mike, as you're looking at the ag employment landscape, what do you see?
So looking at the employment landscape, let me just start by saying this, and you guys, if you're in any of the classes I visited, you've heard me say this is an incredibly unique time for you youngsters out there, okay? This is a labor market that none of us saw coming, where we have a national unemployment rate of like 3.7% coming out of a pandemic. All our career fairs at the Iowa State campus right now this fall are just absolutely busting at the seams. Engineering had, I think, 600 this week and last. Businesses actually today with 230, and they're sold out. We're 3 weeks out yet. We're at 260 companies signed up. Our
Wow.
largest ever is 278. So there's a really good chance that we're gonna eclipse that mark. You would have never thought that, a year or two out of a pandemic like we're at there. And, on top of it, too, salaries are trending north incredibly quickly and impressively as well. We do a salary summary every year with about 20 other schools, and our office coordinates it. And this year, there were 9 sectors in it, ag business, ag ed, animal science, agronomy, and such. But out of those 9 sectors, the average salary increase for entry-level salaries this year was 8.4%, okay, versus last year's grads. So supply and demand is really favoring, our students right now. So I just hope our students realize this is an incredibly unique time. I hope they embrace the career fair coming up, which knowing our students, they will. But, looking at some of the things the college is doing right now, I think, and maybe you've seen this in some of your majors, but they've kind of developed these niche specialty options in areas like that. Like I know Ag Studies had, I don't know what they call them exactly, but I know specializations, and I know horticulture, for example, has niche option areas. I think Ag Biz has something like that. So they've added these things, or certificates like in animal science as well. And these are great things for you, the student, to embrace, because employers are going to recognize those on your resume. They're going to add value to it. And it gives you just that little extra splash of specialization within your given major there. So these niche areas, these options, you guys know the college is very big on innovation. As we sit here in this brand new building, they're huge on entrepreneurial ventures. Kevin Kinley and AgEI does a wonderful job with that. And then you see other things popping up like the feed mill here on campus that's being constructed. And boy, there's some tremendous opportunities in that line of work as well. So the college is doing a lot of, great little things there that's just going to, I think, enhance the value of, the students' experience here within the College of Ag and Life Sciences.
Yeah, I think that's all really good stuff to hear. I think Lydia and I can retweet that almost in a way that the College of Ag and Life Sciences has done a really good job preparing us as students for careers and the career fair. I know I've always got a lot of value out of the career fair and talking to recruiters and things like that. So really appreciate that on your end, and it's awesome.
Thank you.
You kind of alluded to some of the clubs that we have here at Iowa State. How many clubs do you think are in the College of Ag and Life Sciences? And to give everyone else an idea, how many students do you think are involved in them?
I always say a lot, and I'm going to defer the number to Lydia here since she's the president of Cal's council. I don't know. I mean, I pull that website up all the time for recruiters looking to tap into clubs to speak to. There's a lot on there. I don't know the exact number. Lydia, do you?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you exactly how many students are involved in clubs, but I know that on our council, the way it's kind of structured is that every club within the College of Ag has the opportunity to be a member. And so we have 47 clubs that are members now. And then there's an additional 10 to 12 that have, scheduling conflicts, or they're kind of a non-traditional club and meet maybe just twice a semester or something and don't have a representative. But so I'd say, we have well over 50 clubs just within our college. And that is, every college has a list, but I think that's pretty impressive. Most of the majors all have a club tied to them directly. And, within that, part of our role on Cal's student council is we bring them all together and we kind of get to be that information source of, whatever our executive team, whatever our group plans and presents to all these people, they send to their club an announcement. So it's kind of like an information chain. But it's really cool seeing all those people come together. And our council is really unique because every member goes back to their own club's officer team. So they have a lot of leadership commitments on their plate, and they still choose to come and be super engaged. And, it's really exciting. We have a lot of clubs, we have great engagement, and we have people that really genuinely want to be involved professionally, personally, and want to better themselves, better their clubs, better Iowa State.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to be the advisor for that for a couple of years, and it's beyond impressive. These students on the council are so good. But on the flip side of that, we have all these clubs. From my perspective, what's great is that the employers, they're in touch with these clubs too. At least the employers that know how to work the circuit out there, they're in touch with these clubs, and they're trying to get in those first meetings of the year before career day to plant the seed on employment opportunities with their company. We're so blessed to have that great diverse array of clubs, but even more importantly, the great students that are involved with them.
Yeah, Lydia, I think you can agree with me that the clubs here at Iowa State are definitely part of my favorite part about Iowa State. Yes, school is important, and it's important to learn and get good grades, but that networking opportunities are also very important, and I think that helps a lot of our College of Ag and Life Science students be prepared for the working world.
I had a student once, I always tell people, learn the art of networking, right? And the old adage, it's not what you know, but who you know. But I remember one president of a club once said, it's not, what you know, but who knows you, okay? And these clubs are great because employers are watching these clubs. They know who the movers and shakers are out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think one analogy, I don't know if, Mike, you said it, or maybe I heard it somewhere along the line while I was here, but, you think about college in thirds. You think, a third, your actual academics in the classroom. My professors probably wouldn't like to hear that, but that's such a small fraction. And then a third is the leadership you do while you're on campus. And then the last third is what you do outside of that. So your internships, your professional development, and, our experience is kind of shaped as a whole within those three areas. So I think it's cool to see them all come together so well, and leadership being such a large component of that.
And, an interesting piece off that, one of the most important quotes I ever heard from a recruiter, and I've been in this position 24 years, and people ask me about trends that I've seen in 24 years. Two of the most important trends, one of the two most important trends has been the decreased reliance on a GPA. Back when I started in 98, every job posting would come through, must have 3.5 GPA, all right? And now that gets you like in the top 2% of all students out there, right? But I'll never forget a recruiter from Cargill told me, he said, I would much rather have that student with maybe a 2.8 GPA that can do what? Look me in the eye and talk to me in an interview, versus that 4.0 that's maybe never seen the light of day outside the library. And where does that 2.8 get all that stuff? It's through the clubs and their internships, and all these experiences have just done nothing but solidify those soft skills that employers really hold in high demand right now.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and something that I also see here at Iowa State. So Lydia, obviously you and I will be in the market for ag careers very soon, probably more soon than I would like to admit. But what are some of the trends that you are seeing? Is there anything that is exciting you?
Yeah, I think, Mike kind of alluded to it earlier, but, it's really it's a hiring market. Whatever you want, you can kind of ask what you want and ask for the position that you want. If there's work out there that you're interested in, you can really find yourself in that place. And I saw on LinkedIn last week, it was, internships aren't just, you can't just market the opportunity anymore. And quite frankly, maybe not even the pay. You have to leverage, the company culture, the benefits, and everything that the student will gain beyond just, a tack on their resume, something that's really going to want to draw them in. It's that competitive, which I think as a student is really exciting. And when we look to full-time jobs, it's not just the pay anymore. People want a great culture, which justifiably so, to have great relationships and to do great work. So I think kind of looking at the people that have graduated that are really enjoying where they're at now and enjoying, both their work and the location and the people they're around, I think it's kind of that combination and, picking great companies that kind of align with your values?
Yeah, one of my most favorite memories from the summer was I went to the World Pork Expo back in June, and obviously we have a lot of Cal's graduates down there. And I went with Dr. Tom Boss, he's a retired professor of animal science. Swine is his forte, and it was funny to go with him because he was connecting with a lot of the older alumni there, and I ran into so many young alum that have been out for a year and a half, 2 years, and I probably spent 5 hours on that floor just visiting with these people. And I came back that night, I told my wife, one of the best parts of this day was every kid I talked to loved their job, all right? They were enthusiastic about it, they had a smile on their face, they were happy to be there, and I didn't have one kid pull me aside and said, hey, my job's terrible, I need a new job, help me, right? So, to your point, I think culture is a huge component of it these days, and I've been pleasantly surprised. I've had about, in the last week, 4 or 5 kids come in with full-time offers, and at some point in discussing that, culture comes up where they're like, I know this culture and I like it, and I think that's one of the key things that attracts people to that company or that organization.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because not long ago, everybody lived and died by the dollar sign. So now there's a bigger picture to it, and that to me is really reassuring.
Mike, we kind of talked about it earlier, but what are some of the placement trends that you are seeing in the College of Ag right now?
So yeah, our job market obviously is very strong, and our numbers speak volumes to that. And one of the trends I'm seeing with recruiters and employers right now, and you guys probably see it too in your clubs and organization, is how aggressive and how early they want to get on campus. Whether it's in the clubs, whether it's in classes, whatever. There's a lot of kids that are coming back from their internships with offers in hand for next summer already, or there are your juniors coming back for their senior year with full-time offers in hand as a result of that there. So employers are just moving at a very fast pace. We saw that last year with Career Day afterwards in terms of our on-campus interviews. I have never seen a fall recruitment season be that aggressive with offers coming out, and we're going to see that again here, I can promise you, in 2 to 3 weeks. From our perspective, our placement rate last year was 98.5%, and keep in mind that was coming out of the pandemic. That was that would be representative of the year of fall 2020 and spring 2021, because we're always a year behind, okay? And that was the year that really worried me, because you're in the heart and soul of a pandemic, and our companies, cutting jobs, rescinding offers, things like that. That number was astonishing coming out of that period. This year, I'd be shocked if it's much less than that. One of the trends we've seen is one of our categories in placement is not seeking, okay? This is an interesting trend I've noticed in the last decade, and it's not a huge number, but last year I think about 1.1% of our students were not seeking, okay? Versus the previous 5 years it was about 0.5%. And so it's telling me that this pandemic has had a toll on some students out there, and we're seeing a lot of students taking a gap year when they get out of college. Not a lot, but enough that it moved the needle on that percentage there. And I get it, you get out of this. I mean, this pandemic's been difficult on a lot of people out there, but especially mental health issues that are alive and well on campus. So that our overall placement number probably could have been even a little higher if we didn't have these students that were not seeking out there from that standpoint. But this year our numbers have got to be really strong again, and I think one of the trends that we like to brag about is the fact that you hear about the brain drain out of Iowa, and Cal's does a great job of keeping students here in the state. Historically, in the 24 years that I've been here, there's been a pretty straight line statistic with placement, and that's the percentage of graduates that stay in Iowa for their first employment experience, and it's 65 to 70%, and that is the largest of any college here on campus. Last year, I think the university average was about 45% in-state retention. Engineering was down as low as I think 30%. We're the only college above 50% in-state retention rate there. So you hear a lot about it, but we do a pretty doggone good job of keeping our students here in the state. Sure, we lose some to out of state, but you guys stop to think about it. We have a fairly high percentage of students coming from our corridor states of Illinois and Wisconsin and Minnesota, and they want to go back home there. So that's really a feather in our cap, is that we do a pretty good job of keeping our graduates here in Iowa.
Yeah, so we have a really high placement rate. What do you think those prospective employers are looking for, and why do they tend to find them in Iowa State graduates?
That's a great question. Yeah, I would like to sit here and tell you, the reason why our career day is so big is because Lois and I, but we know better than that, right? As Lydia chuckles over there. There's two reasons these employers are coming here and why the career fair is so big. It's because of the quality of students that we've got here, and it's the quality of the programs in education that our students get here. Our students are amazing, so I think it's just the overall quality of students that we've got here in Cal's that really appeals to employers out there. And trust me, I hear from a lot of companies, can you move your career day up? We're one of the last on the circuits out there, but I don't know if we'd want to do that, to be honest with you. And then one of the other reasons we don't do it as well is because all our peer institutions have got their dates carved out, and we respect each other's dates and go with that. But I know there's a lot of employers that would love to have us slide that up a little bit because they know that they're going to get a lot of their hires out of our college here. So
That's crazy to think about because I think the career fair being in October, it comes up so fast when, you get a little bit of August and September, and then it's like, boom, career fair's here in October. So I would be terrified if career fair got moved up, but whatever works for the employers, I guess.
we used to, when I first took it over, it was actually in mid-November.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so then we just moved it up a month, and we've kind of held that little niche ever since then. But you're right, I agree. You think about a new student coming here to have a career fair 4 weeks in the academic year, they're still trying to figure everything else out there, and all of a sudden you're springing on that. You got to find an internship now, and that's the other trend I was telling you. The two trends I've seen change the most, obviously the reliance on GPA, but the whole push for early recruitment out there. When I started in '98, May grads didn't even start looking for jobs till spring break, let alone internships till spring break. And I hate to say it now, but if you are looking for talent at spring break, you know what you're going to find out there, right?
Yep. Lydia, what are you hearing from the peers who have gone through the program here at Iowa State that have either graduated or are close to graduating and looking for employment?
I think they, for the most part, feel really ready to have a job. We're all prepared, really. I shouldn't say we. I haven't gone into the job market yet, but, as a whole, are really prepared for that next step. And not only in, what your classwork prepares you for, but like Mike mentioned earlier, the networking component and, not just forming a connection, but maintaining a relationship afterwards. And so I think there's a lot of those softer skills that really serve you well in a job. And I think it's really interesting watching everyone. Social media keeps us so connected, but watching people move into their jobs and their roles. An Iowa State grad from, I believe my same ag communications program is working for Iowa Corn now and got to be at the signing of the new Iowa Corn, Iowa soybean deal this week. So how cool is it to see that somebody that I was in school with is now doing a job that, you could maybe see yourself in. And so just kind of watching people that I was in school with be super, super successful, 1, 2, 3 years out of graduation is really exciting for me, and I guess makes me really hopeful for everything that we're going to get to experience after we graduate.
Yeah, I can echo that. Being a senior at Iowa State this year, I feel ready to have a full-time job. I'm not sure if I'm ready to leave all my friends here at Iowa State, but like you said, your internships, those networking opportunities have really prepared us, and I think there's not a lot of students here who don't feel prepared, so that's really good to think about and puts me at ease, at least as a senior graduated in May.
Yeah, Lydia brings up a great point too. The beauty of this whole job search process is our alumni are just dying to get back. And so the connections, it's one of my favorite parts of Career Day, honestly, is just having people email me, hey, I've got clearance to come to Career Day, or we're coming for the first time, and they're just excited to be back on campus and hire our students there. And it's funny, I joke about Tim Heiler. Tim is always getting chastised by his company of having too many Iowa State students in there. So some of these companies have to kind of watch their trends there, but the alum really are a great support to you guys in terms of your internships and full-time jobs out there.
Mike, I know we kind of talked about this earlier with Lydia, but what are some of the agricultural changes that we're seeing here at Iowa State, and how is Iowa State adapting to those types of changes?
It's kind of what we alluded to before. I think those niche area specializations with the majors, better marketing of those majors by having these specializations, these options, these emphasis areas, which allow you to put that on your resume. I know Dean Bain is really pushing the innovation piece, as we sit here in this great building here today and record this. So there's a big push on innovation and a big push on entrepreneurship. There's a big push on globalization, and it's so good. You guys agree with me to see our study abroad programs back up and running, and we've got a group in Thanksgiving going to Dubai there, and I just, you can tell the excitement of the students to be back to do that. So what a great opportunity to grab a global perspective of what's going on in this world relative to, how it's being done here in the United States. So a big immersion into that. Technology is changing so fast, especially for old people like me. I mean, it's amazing the role that plays in agriculture now, and how quickly it's here today, gone tomorrow, with new and better things out there. And just those little things like the feed mill that I mentioned there, just these added perks that really help elevate programs out there.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. I've heard a lot that people will say, you might have a job that might not even exist today. So to think about that as a college student is also really exciting, and to think about how Iowa State is ahead of those technology changes and working to prepare those students for those types of positions is really great to hear. And that's all I had for today, and I really appreciate you guys coming and talking with me and discussing College of Ag and Life Sciences and your guys' roles.
Thanks for having us, Jenna.
Thanks for having us. Enjoyed it.
3 terrific ambassadors for ISU's College of Ag. We hope you enjoyed hearing from them. And, as you could hear in Jenna's interview, we've got some pretty outstanding interns here at Iowa Farm Bureau. College is the perfect time to experience the diverse opportunities offered by Iowa agriculture, and we're thrilled to offer our interns some great hands-on experience. In fact, we're currently in the process of hiring interns for our 2023-2024 school year, including our digital marketing intern position, which is the internship that Jenna's currently completing, and our young farmer and leadership intern position. We've included a link to those job postings in the notes for this podcast episode. So if you know a college student who'd like to get some great on-the-job ag experience, please share that link with them and encourage them to apply today. That's all for this episode of the Spokesman Speaks podcast. We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll join us for our next one on October 31st. Thank you for doing the work that inspires everything we do here at the Iowa Farm Bureau, and thanks for listening to the Spokesman Speaks.
Thank you for listening to The Spokesman Speaks, a podcast by Iowa Farm Bureau. Check out more podcast episodes at iowafarmbureau.com/podcast. You can also find and subscribe to the Spokesman Speaks podcast in the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and other popular podcast apps. We appreciate your ratings and reviews, and we welcome you to email us your feedback at podcast@ifbf.org.